What's going on, guys? This is the Red Rogue, and today I'm going to be talking about one of the most important tips to maximizing your damage. With the coming changes to being able to buy your own specific corruptions for your gear, this is even more important to know now than ever. Corruption, as most of you know, was added with patch 8.3 and replaced Titan Forging, so you wouldn't have some random person getting mythic level raid gear from a world quest. So instead it was replaced by people wearing world quest gear while their total item level is like almost 479 because it's a huge damage increase. Yeah, seems legit, right? In all seriousness, corruption has been a huge game changer in terms of min-maxing your character. Obviously, you want like 4 Twilight Devastations because it's all everybody talks about in trade chat, right? Actually, the answer is only sometimes yes. While certain corruptions, like Twilight Devastation, Twisted Appendage, or even Infinite Stars, do high amounts of damage, they aren't exactly the end-all be-all corruptions for every character in the game in every scenario. To understand why these huge damage procs aren't dummy thick OP for everyone, we're going to look at 2 different charts, thanks to the fine folks over at Bloodmallet. If you haven't been on Bloodmallet before, it's a wealth of simulation knowledge for pretty much every character in the game. As long as you're not, like, a healer. RIP. So anyways, case in point, we're going to be using Unholy DKs as our example. By the way, Bloodmallet runs these simulations using specific talents, as seen here. So if you're running different talents, you'll have to sim your own character, which is recommended anyhow. They also run with very specific stats, because they'll sim whatever's the highest stats for the most damage, and that's what the corruptions are based off of. Anyways, now that that's out of the way, as I mainly gear through Mythic Plus, I'm more interested in Hectic ad cleave data, which shows single boss with sudden movement and frequent ad spawns. While this isn't quite the same as Dungeon Slice on sites such as raid bots, it gives you a better idea of what AoE scenarios are like. Now obviously from this chart of corruptions, we're going to see that Twilight Devastation does 14,622 damage, and it's amazing. That's a lot of damage. That's quite a lot more than Void Ritual, which is the next one, and it's over 3,000 DPS better. So obviously, Twilight Devastation is the best corruption for Unholy DK, right? Well, this is why you need to look at DPS per corruption. Right now, we're on just raw throughput DPS, how much damage that one Twilight Devastation rank 3 will do. Changing this to DPS per corruption reveals something interesting. So now we see things based off how much damage they deal per point of corruption. So Expedient rank 3, which increases haste from all sources, gives 235.85 damage per point of corruption and only costs 20 corruption. Basically that works out to each rank 3 expedient is about 4,700 DPS. Now as you can see, Twilight Devastation rank 3 is worth just shy of 200 DPS per corruption and costs 75. Now I think you can see where I'm going with this one. 20 divided by 75 is only 26.666, repeating of course, percent of 75. So essentially you can wear 4 rank 3 expedients, which is only 5 corruption higher than 1 rank 3 Twilight Devastation. Using 4 of these would give you a total DPS of 18,868 increase, which is over 4,000 DPS more than rank 3 Twilight Devastation. While that doesn't seem like a massive difference, and it's obviously harder to get multiple corruptions than it is to get one, I'll give you an example that's much easier to understand. Like, I don't even need numbers to do this. If you're one of, like, the 10 arms warriors out there, this one's for you. Once again, Twilight Devastation rank 3. Yes, tons of damage, 15,000 damage, that's fantastic. Ineffable Truth, rank 1. 6,000 damage, but only 12 corruption. Even just doing basic math, you can already see what's going to happen here. Yup. Ineffable Truth, rank 1, is worth 2.5 times its weight in corruption compared to Twilight Devastation rank 3. So you could wear 3 Ineffable Truths at rank 1 and do more damage than 1 rank 3 Twilight Devastation and still cost less than half the corruption. That's insane. Honestly, that's one of the largest values I've seen on a corrupted piece ever. The only thing close to that's like the BM Hunter bow that you get from Skitra, which is very good, but this Ineffable Truth for Arms Warrior is insane. Anyways, that brings me to my second point of this video. How much corruption is too much? If corruption can give you so much DPS, why wouldn't you run 40, 50, over 60? I mean, that's a lot of damage, right? Well, the answer is both yes and no. And it will kind of depend on two things. One, your spec's utility, and two, your skill to deal with the corruption itself. Having excessive corruption can impact your performance by forcing you to move away from an encounter, which can result in more damage loss than you're gaining from the extra corruption you have on. I personally run over 50 corruption on my rogue, but I would not feel nearly confident enough to do that on my unholy DK, for instance. This is in part to rogues being a class that have a lot of crowd control and defensives, as well as just me being much more comfortable on my character I play 7 days a week versus the one I play 1 day a week to get his vision runs taken care of. It's honestly up to you to determine where your limits are on corruption, though if I were to say in general, the specs that have the best ability to handle it are things like rogues, BM hunters, Havoc demon hunters, mages. All of those classes have numerous ways to avoid damage or just crowd control their thing from beyond, and they have pretty good mobility in general. Again, this is mostly just my opinion, as I'm sure almost every class can theoretically handle high levels of corruption, but most of it will just come down to the skill level of the player. In general, it's a safe bet to just stay under 40, so you don't have to worry about randomly getting slapped in the chicklets for half your health by bad thing from beyond spawns. I think that about covers up the fundamentals of min-maxing your corruption, and we'll have to wait and see exactly how expensive the cost of buying your own corruptions will be. I plan on covering a lot of the hotly discussed corruptions in a few videos this week, so keep an eye out for them. Let me know in the comments if there's any particular corruptions that you want a video about, or just any questions you have about corruption in general. This is the Red Rogue, and I'll see you guys around.